Jack Knight Winners. This is Jack Frost University, and today I'm going to be talking about a tarot card description for the Hermit card. The Hermit card, the major arcana. This is number 9 in the tarot card deck. Number 9. This is the Hermit card. This is one of the major arcanas. Okay, it's a trump card. And the first thing I want to talk about with the Hermit card is it's obviously an old man, and he's got a staff, and he's got a white beard. He's got a long white beard, and he's wearing a cloak. Okay, and he's standing on a snowy capped mountain. He's on top of a mountain. Okay, he's way up there. So the Hermit isolates. He's in isolation. Okay, that's why he's way up on the top of a mountain. He's all by himself. You'll notice there's really not too much nature. He's not even really enjoying nature that much. There's a lot of these cards have a lot of trees and animals and kids in the background. Not this card. Okay, the Hermit card. He's a hermit. Okay, and a hermit isolates himself for religious reasons or spiritual reasons. Okay, hermits don't just isolate themselves because they're like social exiles or anything. Like, they're not like social outcasts or anything. They specifically isolate themselves for spiritual reasons. Okay, I played this Hermit card out in my life from the year 2002 to 2017. So basically just about a year ago. And a year ago I came out of Hermit mode, but it lasted 15 years. So 15 years I played the Hermit card. Okay, the Hermit is not really ready to impart his wisdom and knowledge to the world yet, because he doesn't really have any. Okay, he doesn't have knowledge. He doesn't have any wisdom. He's got. That's the whole point of going into the Hermit mode, is so that he can get that knowledge and wisdom, because he doesn't really have any. If someone is still playing out this card, he doesn't actually have this wisdom and knowledge yet. That's why he's going into Hermit mode, so he can get it. Okay, that 6-pointed star is called the Seal of Solomon. Christianity back in the medieval days, Christianity and magic kind of went hand in hand. It didn't always used to be at odds with each other. And all of the ancient Christian mystics, they all knew this. Arthur Edward Waite, or Eliphas Levi, stuff like that, Francis Bacon. Christianity and magic were kind of one and the same, which is how it got to be so big. So this card can mean, if you get this card, or if you feel the need to play this card out, it's about focusing inward. This card is about focusing inward. Okay, it's about concentrating less on the senses. Our whole human experience is based on the 5 senses. Okay, what you see, what you smell, what you taste, what you hear, and what you feel with your hands and with your body. Okay, that these 5 senses can take us on quite a roller coaster of emotions. They can distract us. They can keep us busy, occupied. And there's really nothing wrong with enjoying the 5 senses, of course. That's what life is about. But we do have these times when we need to kind of extract ourselves from these 5 senses and focus on the Hermit. Okay, on the Hermit mode. Enter into Hermit mode. Sometimes there's roadblocks in life that must be removed before you can level up. Okay, sometimes you have to look for the answers within, and that's what this. I think that chick was trying to photobomb me. Sometimes you have to look for the answers within, and the only way to get those answers is to spend a lot of time in isolation. Okay, you don't sometimes when we play this Hermit card out, it doesn't have to be a physical isolation, like up in the mountains, by yourself, sitting on the porch in the rocking chair or anything like that. For me, I was isolated for a couple of years. The best year of my life was in, I think, 2004, 2005, when I was living in a town called Loon Lake, Washington. which is an hour north of Spokane, Washington. And you know what? I had some money that came to me, and I spent an entire year just walking around the lake, smoking cigars, and just enjoying my life. But I was definitely, that was the beginning of my hermit mode, or maybe not the beginning, but I was definitely isolated. Didn't have too many friends. I had some neighbors, but I didn't really talk to them that much. Um, so you don't necessarily have to be physically isolated from people. Sometimes you can just be mentally or emotionally isolated. You could be going to work, but just like really just in this bubble, this sphere of isolation, where you're just not connecting with people. Maybe you don't have any friends, but it's for a reason. If it's a hermit card, if it's a hermit deal, it's for a specific reason. That isolation is for a reason, okay? And it's to get knowledge and wisdom. You can't really impart knowledge and wisdom to the world if you don't have any, and that's what the hermit card is about. It's about getting that knowledge and wisdom, and you get that by focusing less on your five sense experience, okay? Um, Hermits have been known to look for the truth at all costs, and sometimes it does cost a lot. There's a sacrifice that you have to make in order to play this card. I found this card to be very difficult. But it's necessary sometimes, okay? This card can mean that you need to go on a knowledge quest. Um, it can also mean that, you need to learn from a mentor. It could mean that you need to turn to a trusted teacher for a season, okay? Um, this hermit, he's adapting to his inner voice. He's getting acquainted with his higher self, or the oversoul, or some people call it the oversoul, or the divine mind, or the universal intelligence, whatever this source energy is. It takes years to get accustomed to this voice and to hear this still small voice that you hear in your heart. It takes time to get acclimated to that voice, because that voice is so different than what your carnal mind is telling you. Your mind wants to submit to fear all the time. We're walking around in fear of everything. Scarcity issues. You can get rid of scarcity issues, scarcity mindsets, by entertaining the hermit card. Okay. Um, and that's pretty much all this card really represents. It's really just about. It could be physical, emotional, or mental isolation. I prefer the physical isolation to go with that as well. Might as well get up in the mountains for a while. So I played this card out for 15 years, and I took jobs that allowed me to work at the graveyard shift at like certain hotels. Graveyard shift, where I was only working for a 3-hour, really, graveyard shift at a hotel, night auditor position. You're only really working for a few hours. And that gave me 5 hours a night to kind of get balanced, to get up into my head and kind of get smart, do a lot of reading and studying. And I think it's paid off, or it's starting to pay off. I found this card to be a bit difficult. Being isolated is not easy, but it has a purpose. Again, the hermit isolates himself not just for any reason, it's specifically for spiritual or religious reasons. So, yeah, that's the hermit card. It's one of my favorites, too, by the way. I kind of miss being in hermit mode. It was kind of fun for a while. All right, later.